Hey everyone, in this lesson we're going to review how to split columns by delimiter or by specific characters. So first we're going to go to transform data, and I have an Excel file dataset brought in that looks at employee data. So it's going to have employee name, location, general employee ID, and a phone number. And a lot of times you're going to see employee name brought in with a comma. In the last lesson I'll add a link where we showed instances where you would get two columns, one with last name and one with first name, and we showed how you'd combine them to look like this. In this lesson, we're going to show how to break up columns into multiple ones if needed. So say you have one employee name separated by a comma or a space, and you want to break it out into two separate columns, one for first name or one for last name. You're going to highlight that column, and then up here in the toolbar under Home, you'll see Split Column. And you can go to delimiter, and you're going to click this anytime you have something separated by a space or a comma. And in here it's going to ask you, what do you want to delimit by? In this case, comma, but you do have a list, and you can add a custom one as well if you have something that doesn't fall within here. So we'll do comma, and then say you had multiple commas but only wanted to separate based on the first one. That's when you would click leftmost delimiter, or if you want to do the last one only, rightmost delimiter. In this case, it's just, we only have one comma for name, so I'll just do each occurrence. And then I'm going to click OK. And you'll see it now split out into last name and first name. And if you want to keep the original and have the breakout, all you have to do is, and I can delete that last step here under Applied Steps and go back to where it was before. I can right click and duplicate this column, and then do that same exercise where I split on the delimiter within here. And I can just drag these over in the order I want them to be. And I'll just rename these last name and first name. And this just allows me to keep the original in case I want to group by this, but then I also have the breakout as well. And then if you wanted to, based on location, you could do the same for city and state. You could separate on the delimited comma. And now this will be very useful, say if you use mapping visuals, or if you want to do counts by state or city, you now have the breakout, where before if you had it separated by comma and one, it's just a little bit trickier, especially when you start having multiple cities in the same state pop in your data. And then another instance of delimiting you can do would be with identification number. So this is for if you have a mix of text and numbers. A lot of the times with employee ID or incident tickets, you might have it say INC and then the number, or in this case ID and then the number. But a lot of the times you really only care about the number because the ID is general and it's used for all. So in cases like this, you can also use split column, and you can see a function down here that says by digit to non-digit or by non-digit to digit. So if I click non-digit to digit, it's going to break out the moment it goes from text to a number. So if I don't really care about the ID, you can see it split it out here. I can just remove this, and I can just keep the numeric ID here, which is what I care about. And then lastly, another thing you can do, and this is more maybe beyond delimiting, is if you get a phone number in your data, but it's just put in all together, but you want to separate it by comma, you can actually come into add column and add a custom column. And we're going to call this phone number formatted. And you can do text middle. And once you type it in, it'll pop there. And we're going to do this with phone number, where we'll say start at the first digit. So if you want to start at the 2, you'll put in a 0 and say, give me the first 3 digits. So we say, give me 216. Give me the first 3 digits in that phone number. Then you'll close that. This is where you can say then after those first 3 digits, put a dash and then another inside. And then you can just copy what you did here. Looks like I have another text there. You can copy what you did here. And then say, okay, then start at the 3rd digit and give me the next 3. Or by using this 3, you're saying basically start at the 4th digit. So you're saying you already used these 3, start after the 3rd spot. So in this case, we're starting at 948. Give me those 3 digits. And again, you'll put a dash in between. And then lastly, you're just saying, okay, start at the 6th digit and give me the last 4. I know it looks a little jumbled, but if you can use the same equation, it'll work in these instances, and you only have to do it once. And if I click OK, well, let's see. Oh, this is a good note. It's saying we can't convert this because it's in a number format. So if you're trying to do this step, I'll go back previously. This is in number format. To do what I'm doing, it's looking at text. So I'd have to make this, since it's a phone number, you don't really care if it's a number format anyway. So you just have to make this text, and I'll insert that step in here. And now that it's text, if I go back to what I did here, it should now process. And now you'll see, okay, this turned into an actual number format that we're used to seeing. And you can keep this column as reference, or you could always remove it if you want to keep your data set smaller. But these are just a couple tips you can use with the split column function. It's very useful, especially with employee data, or when you're trying to break out columns to make creating visuals just a little bit easier. And I'll link at the end as well how to import data from Excel into Power BI in case you're working through that now. But thank you for watching.